Hey there, everybody. Welcome. Lotus, Art of Sacred Embodiment. Happy to have you here whenever you're tuning in. So we are pre-summer solstice, and I can tell the energies have already been activating. So I want to talk a little bit about that today, and I want to talk a little bit about why this portal and many of the other portals are really profoundly transformational for us when we step into them. So thank you for being here. Thanks for subscribing and liking. And I appreciate you, appreciate the connection, appreciate the resonance. So let's talk, let's see, we could say ascension symptoms, right? I tend to like to call them ascension sensitivities, and ascension has really kind of become more descension, inscension, more in this embodiment part of this journey now, right? Coming home with all of our soul energies, our soul power into the temple space, which is this physical and our energetic forms. We're going to talk more about that in the summer solstice celebration class, the sacred technology that is this temple. And how does this play out during, let's say, just for the summer solstice. But I also want to talk about what are some of the things that you might be experiencing as we move closer to Saturday. So a couple of the things is you can get extra energized, right? We are between these two moon cycles as well, the full moon that we just had, and then we're going to be coming into the new moon in Cancer. So both the full moon and the new moon are really bookending the solstice. So we're not actually having a respite, we could say, or in the ebbs and flows. We're not having a whole lot of an ebbing right now because we're in a continual momentous shift. So you can be extra energized. You can be tapping into more joy, more bliss. I've had a couple people talk about that. You can be tapping into just more expansion. You can also be tapping into more things rising to the surface as that light gets stronger, right? It shines the light onto our shadowed aspects or our distortions that are ready to come up to the surface, to be moved out, to be purified, to be cleared, to be made conscious, to be healed. So I've had last night, I was probably up almost all night, and there was just this deep, continuous, very subtle peeling away of these layers that I didn't even know were there, right? Just thinner layers of my own distortion and shadow that I was, kind of doing my meditation, more of like a yoga nidra meditation before I thought I was going to go to sleep. And I could feel inside that I was bumping up against this rigid wall almost over to the left side of me. And how this rigidity was stopping and inhibiting this next layer, and probably layers even before this that I wasn't really sensitive to, of being able to receive more truth of myself, more higher truth, more light. And I think that this kind of wall, this rigid, like just stopping point, has been there for a long time, but I couldn't perceive it until last night. And so it was fascinating to just go, whoa, okay, this part of me is really lodged in here, and it carries very specific stories and thought forms and emotional patterns that feel kind of unmovable, but they've been, they've been running a show, right? They've been the programming that has been keeping me in this repetition and cycling of what isn't working. So anyway, so once I saw that, it was super exciting. I was like, whoa, okay, now I see you. And so whoever knows for how long, how many hours, there was just this working with my highest self, and I could feel the Holy Mother and Holy Father within, kind of supporting and holding and allowing this to break down and move out, right? So it was really beautiful, and is all I really needed to do was just surrender. Surrender to the work of all of my own higher wisdom. This is a key point that we're going to go into in July when we start our bi-weekly or bi-monthly classes on remembering your wholeness. We're going to start accessing some of these subtle layers so that you can do this work effortlessly and easily for yourself to empower your own journey. So anyway, so you might be hitting more of your distortions, more of your shadows, and you might be feeling discombobulated. You might be feeling kind of poopy, that's kind of what I was running into on Sunday. I was feeling kind of poopy. And I've also been noticing that during the night, the ringing in my ears has not just felt like the ringing in the ears that I feel mainly in my right ear right now, which is not tinnitus. These are codes of light coming into our system with information to reorganize and reprogram and upload and download, divine and cosmic evolutionary information. So the sound now, the ringing now, at night in particular, is sort of like this symphony, and I can feel it's not just coming in one area. It's like I'm hearing it like a symphony of pitches and tones and beautiful, sound kind of around my head. So I wanted to point that out because oftentimes people will get a little bit, disturbed about the ringing in the ears, and I always recommend if you feel like you need to get that checked, then please do for tinnitus. However, if you're on this trajectory, it doesn't mean that you don't have that or you won't be diagnosed with it, but to also recognize that most likely it is the light codes coming into our system, carrying libraries of information that are seeds planted or direct activations for us now. So that is going on. And I mentioned also right before the full moon, I could tell that the moon was coming in because I got that cortisol surge. And so I'm not having any cortisol surges now, but there's still like, there's a lot more up and down. Like I'm energized and then I kind of get tired, and I get energized and then I get tired. So as our body now is pulling in more solar light, right? The solar light are Christed codes. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the summer solstice celebration tomorrow. Yay. Class tomorrow evening. Link will be below. And we're also going to talk about how we use these portals in a relational intimacy with the cosmos. So what do I mean by that? We get, as we continue to come more into our sacred embodiment, our soul embodiment, the more that we're in connection with our highest selves and our guides, the more that we are in that flow and that communion with the cosmic energetics in general. All of these forces, all the way up to the galactic assistance that we have, our galactic families, all of this is interconnected. All of these energies are stepped down for us to access, and for all of those consciousnesses to access us. And we get to work with them. We get to say, particularly during these portals, when we listen within us to what is being called from within. Again, not what we're wanting outside of us necessarily, but what is inside of us alters what is outside of us. So what we get to do is we get to work directly with, a lot of times people use, I'm not switching the topic, but I just want to do a little segue. A lot of times people use the word commanding, right? We're commanding ourselves. We're commanding our organs. We're commanding. I'm not a fan of that word particularly, because command for me holds kind of a power over, and I don't believe that my ego construct has power over my divinity. So I don't really align with that word. But what I do love, right, is I get to come into this deeper intimacy of inner listening, and I get to come to the altar of my heart and set prayers and call forth specific things in my body for healing. I get to connect with my soul, but also with my cells. I get to connect, for instance, with my ribs, right? I've the last week and a half to 2 weeks, I have had bruised ribs that kind of happened from out of nowhere, but I did lean over my couch at one point, and I could feel like, oh, okay, that was an interesting sensation. So I've been working and talking with my bones, right, with my ribs. I've been doing deeper recognition into why at this point are my ribs having this sensitive reaction, and communing with the deeper layers and levels of myself, and the recognition, like, of course, the left side, right, of my rib, which is this protector of my organs, particularly my lower, it's the lower, and just understanding that it's shifting. My templates are shifting inside, my receptivity, my my inner masculine and feminine is reorienting, unifying more deeply, and so the inner energetics are changing form. when our inner energetics change form, as does our outer sometimes, because it has to go through a reconfiguration. So that's a segue. But we have the opportunity during these portals to come into clear connection and communication and have a conversation with the energies coming in, with divine source, with our soul presence, where we get to have a deeper aligned say. So we're going to talk more about this as well in the summer solstice celebration class, and we'll probably do some of this in the in the Remembering Your Wholeness classes down the road as well, because this is where we're coming, right? This is the organic evolutionary process where we're living from the inside out, where we don't have to go outside to seek our healing, to seek our information, to get our activations, right? And we might have to do that until we learn how to come into this deeper wholeness, where we then turn on these parts of our blueprint, right? We get to say, okay, this is what next leveling is, right? Okay, let's do this. I'm calling forth the codes of my divine blueprint. A, B, C, D. If this is in my highest alignment for the highest good, right? With the highest light and love and truth and wisdom of divine source and the highest good for all, so be it. I'm saying yes. I'm giving my consent. I'm on board. We come into that alignment. And we are in communication with all of us, with the cosmos, with our extended families in the multidimensional realities. So solstice gives us this opportunity. This is why I'm doing this a couple days before, so you have time, right, to dive deeper with the work that we do in the class, with the activations, and not only understand how the light, the sunlight, truly does affect our physicality, and the bridging, the bridge, the temple bridge that we are. We're going to explore that, and what does that mean, right? And how do we become enlivened in higher expressions of our humanness as divine portals in and of itself. So it's very, I love summer solstice. Of course, I love all of this, and then we're going to go into Lionsgate. So we've just got many opportunities for our continued expansion while Jupiter is doing its expansion over this next year. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop there. I will probably post something too over on Patreon, but and for free. I did post a short yesterday of just starting to commune with the sun a little bit. A part one, it was a short, and I don't know if it's still up or available. I rarely do shorts. So you can check out under shorts. And then there was a part two that's for free over on Patreon that gives us a snippet of the kind of breath work that we're going to be doing on Wednesday, tomorrow, in the class. Replays will be available if you cannot join us at 5:30 p.m. Central Time. You will be able to access that through registration on the link below. And if you don't join us, we'll have a fabulous summer solstice. And the invitation is to get outside as much as possible in the sunlight, even if you're in the shade, in the sunlight through summer solstice. I personally am spending summer solstice day out at my favorite park, spread out under the trees. I'm hoping the ground will not be too wet. Under the trees, held between the heavens and the earth, and just doing my deeper receptivity and activations. So I'll be sending out love and good juju to all of you as well. But that is where I will be found. So, all right. Much love and many blessings. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.